Hi there, this is Chris from MoneyHub, and this video looks at travel money for New Zealanders visiting Dubai and, of course, the wider UAE. So we've put this together because there are daily flights out from Christchurch and Auckland to Dubai and onwards up to Europe and around Africa, the Middle East. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm not sure what currency I need for Dubai. You know, what kind of money should I be taking there? What kind of cards do they take? What should I do? So we've put together a comprehensive guide which looks at cash, it looks at using cards, and then it looks at using travel money cards. We also give some tips for basically what you need to know about using money in Dubai, and then some frequently asked questions plus our conclusion as well. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to show you exactly what the options are. As I said, we've put this together because some people do stop in Dubai, usually not during the summer period of Dubai, i.e. the New Zealand winter, because it's very hot. But increasingly people will transit through there and think, let's have let's have 2 or 3 nights, let's break the trip up. Perfectly normal. See the sights, look at the malls, look at the big buildings, go skiing, go all sorts of activities there, and lots of water parks, things like that. And so, of course, it's important to know that things do cost lots of money there if you do go big. And so it's useful just to sort of understand the travel money situation. Now, first up, the official currency it's called the Dirham, and it's presented as the currency called AED, and it's used throughout the 7 Emirates. So it's not just Dubai, there's also Sharjah, which is right next door, and there's also Al Ain, and I can name the other 4, but I don't need to. Of course, Abu Dhabi is one of them as well. And so you can use that currency wherever you are in the Emirates. It's not going to be the same currency for Oman or for Saudi or for anywhere else in the Gulf. But for the Emirates, you will be using the dirham. Now, $1 hovers around 2.1 to 2.5 AED or dirhams, and as we've written here, if the New Zealand dollar weakens, this means that stopping over or visiting Dubai becomes more expensive and vice versa. So if we have a strong dollar, it does make the trip to Dubai cheaper, which is great. And of course, while that does sound obvious, it's good just to state it so people kind of know what the exchange rate's doing and what that means. Now, most people traveling to or from Dubai or through Dubai will pre-book and prepay hotels. That's perfectly normal. But there are a lot of on-the-ground costs should you go big, and this is why it's quite a focus of this guide, because small things do add up, especially if you're there with your family. It does become quite expensive. Now, Dubai is basically moving towards becoming cashless. It is a traditional economy, but cards are like really widely accepted and actually preferred, and you can use MasterCard, Visa, and in most cases Amex as well. So first up, let's go straight into the detail using cash. And what your options are here is usually it would be the bank, but Westpac, if we have a look at their foreign exchange service. Now, Westpac being the only bank now which will offer foreign exchange currency and cash before you leave. You won't see the UAE dirham there. You see a lot of other currencies. So that option is out. And what that leaves you then is with Travelex or number one currency if you want to get cash before you leave for Dubai. So if we have a look at Travelex, and I'll load this up, and we'll have a look at their rates, and you can see right there it's got a page on the dirham, and if we type in AED, and if we type in 1,000 just to get so you can see here that the rate is going to be 2.03 for the dirham. And then if we also look at the number one currency, of course, these are all linked down below of this video, so you can have a read and see that, or to 1,000 there. And we'll change that to AED. You'll see that the rate is 2.09. So that is different to 2.03. In this case, you're going to get more for your money than you like with number one currency than you will with the Travelex rate. But if we look at the Wise rate, which is quite useful as a reference, and if we type that in right now, we're going to see that the rate that they're offering is around 2.25, and then less a small amount of fees is going to be about 2.24. So that's a significant increase, and it's around 10% of what you'd get from TravelX, because they're offering 2.03, and here with Wise you're getting 2.24. So that does make a difference. Just for relevance, let's head back to the UAE information. What you can do is withdraw up to $350 per month New Zealand, and that's going to be around 750 dirhams, and that's without the withdrawal fee, which is normally 1.75%. Most people going to Dubai, as I said, aren't really going to be relying on cash that much. The Ubers all, of course, take card. Taxis are pre-booked. Everything's very card-based. The metro is card. Everything's very card. But it's useful to have should you be down in the Dubai souk or down somewhere we just want to tip in cash. That's all good, and therefore it is useful to have some cash then and there. Of course, using Wise, you are going to get those strong exchange rates at 2.24 right now versus using TravelX where you'd be getting 2.04. It does make a difference, and this is why we are a fan of these type of services. So pros and cons of using cash for UAE. Pros, it's going to be universally accepted, and then it's going to be, obviously, there's no risk of declined transactions or something going wrong with your card. The cons are safety concern, but if I think for all my experiences, and generally I've been to Dubai 10, 15 times, there's no risk whatsoever. It's incredibly safe, but you don't, of course, want to be walking around with bags or wads of money. And then there are also problems with the airport exchange. That's the real sort of thing that's the sting there if you do it in New Zealand, and also if you do it in Dubai, you're not really sure what the rate's going to be, and it can get quite expensive quite quickly. Now, if you do have spare dirham, and you're about to leave Dubai, if you're flying onwards to Europe or back to New Zealand, and you're not going to be using the dirham in the future, then you could make a part payment on the last day for any cost that you have, say a hotel bill or anything like that, or a restaurant. You can convert them back to New Zealand dollars. It's going to be expensive. Dubai Airport will do it for you in most cases, but you may not get the best rate. And then lastly, you can also gift them to someone who's visiting Dubai or anywhere else in the Emirates later on. Now, if we move straight into using debit cards and credit cards that are issued in New Zealand, that's pretty normal. For the most part, people will rely on their credit card to pay hotel bills or put down a hotel card to take the reservation. What we're finding is that with the exception of very few cards, you will be paying a surcharge for making any transaction in Dubai. Generally, it's going to be as high as around 2.5%. That's with the Kiwi Bank debit card. But then, there are some cards which will charge about 1.3%, 1.5%. Cooperative Bank that goes up to 2.6%. Of course, that's on their exchange rates. And there's never really too much transparency about what those will be. We have found that it's much better to use a travel money card because you know what the rate will be. It's very accepted. They're money transfer apps, so they have to lead with the best rates. Hence, you're always going to get the best deal in most cases. But, of course, the banks need to make their profits as well, and so they will be charging fees. There are exceptions. Westpac does offer a 0% FX fee for their debit card, but in most cases the credit cards will all charge fees. Now, using bank cards from New Zealand within Dubai, pros and cons. It's going to be accepted widely. There's no issues there whatsoever, and you can track all your of your expenses, which is very useful. Basic unpleasant surprises are going to be those fees, which do rack up. If you spend $1,000, then you'll probably be charged anything from $12 to $25 in FX fees, which is just annoying, and it also may not be the best exchange rate as well. And also the dynamic currency conversion scam. So we're not a fan of this at all. Sometimes you'll be somewhere in Dubai and you want to pay your bill and this thing will flash up on the card machine because it recognizes that your card is from New Zealand, and it will propose that you pay the bill in New Zealand dollars. Now, it's going to give you a terrible rate, a terrible exchange rate, and it's going to charge you a 10% or so convenience fee for doing this. I don't know why this is legal, and it's a big scam. So just ignore all that. You won't get that with travel money cards in most cases. They will, just default to whatever the local currency is, and you won't have that kind of scam pop up. But if it does, of course, then just be aware. But it does seem to be common now with bank issued cards, just because they're sort of recognized as being from that country. So, of course, always reject that. Now, there is a risk that your card will be declined, skimmed, or even captured by an ATM. Dubai is very functional and very sort of forward focused. So, and also is very tough on crime. So there won't be any significant fraud wide scale. In most cases, but it's just good to be aware that those things can also make it a bit of a problem should something happen to your card. So our view, it is convenient to use your bank issued card, but it does add up in sort of costs, so that's something to be aware of. Lastly, the travel money card. So as we said, the exchange rates are just very, very strong. It's very convenient. And what you'll find is that you can then use different wallets should you want to prepay with Wise or Revolut and store the money, or any other travel money card. Of course, our research into travel money cards is very extensive, and we've compared the rates from the likes of Travelex, Revolut, OneSmart, Cash Passport, etc. With Wise, and we have found that Wise does lead the market consistently. It's a much better solution. It's very app-based. It's very low cost. It's very trusted, and so that's why we have put some sort of a focus here on the Wise card for trying to save money when you're in Dubai and the UAE. Now, with regards to different wallets or topping up, some people, before they go to Dubai, will say, "Oh, I'll put in 1,000 dirham and I'll just, make that transfer from my bank in New Zealand dollars and just keep it there." But a lot of people now just load their Wise card or their travel money card with New Zealand dollars, and then just let the currency be charged when the transaction's made. So that way you're paying the rate day, or the day, or the rate at that very instant which you transact. But in most cases, a day-to-day, the New Zealand dollar is stable towards the dirham, and so that's not going to be a problem with wild exchange rates. So that's something to be aware of. And of course, then you don't have to lock in currencies. You don't have currencies left over, and you're just getting the rate that you transacted at. So will there be charges? Yes, there will be a small currency conversion charge when you convert to, but they do lead with the best rates, and so that's certainly something which is very useful. So pros of, say, a Wise debit card: it's going to be widely accepted, highly competitive rates, multi-currency. So if you're going on to Europe, you can either keep it all in New Zealand dollars, or put some in dirhams, or keep some in euros, or British pounds, or wherever you're going. It's very, very flexible for onward travel and all sorts of travel. Transparent fees, that is very much the case. And then instant notifications. If you have roaming, then it'll come up on your phone. If you've activated that, most people do have the app, so that's no issue. And then the cons there is that it does have a limit of around 750 dirhams per month, or $350 New Zealand, for withdrawing money before you are charged that 1.75% fee. But that's not going to affect your spending on the card. This is just for cash withdrawals. And of course, it's not a credit card either, so that's something to be aware of. And the reason is because, we've put that as a con, because some people do like the flexibility of having a credit card while they're on holiday. You will pay for that unless it's a very low fee one. And of course, the rates aren't always going to be the best. So that's why we are big fans of Wise there, but it is worth pointing out. Now, if I just move into must-know tips, cards are very common. Cash has its place. Be just careful, even though Dubai is very safe. Just be aware that it's just good to keep your eyes on everything. It's a big open zone, so there's everybody there from everywhere, and you just never know what can happen, but it is largely very safe, so there's no petty crime or things like that. And you can consider mobile options like Apple Pay, Google Pay. They're widely accepted alongside digital cards. And then keeping track of your expenditures is super important. A good a good app like Wise does that for you. Of course, you can see it on your bank statement. If you use a bank card, it's not as user friendly, and it certainly will have direct debits or whatever else your charges are going through your bank every day that's linked to your card as well. So just be aware of that. And then some frequently asked questions. What we see here is that, is Dubai expensive? Then the answer is it can be, but it just comes down to what you're going to do. There, some people don't spend much money, but if you go to the water parks, Wild Wadi, or out to the Atlantis at the Palm, then that gets expensive really quickly. The food's expensive. If you go with the family, it's very expensive. And of course, if you go skiing, similar thing. Skybridge up at the Burj Khalifa, expensive. Basically, things that look nice in Dubai do cost lots of money. So be aware that it can get expensive very quickly, especially if you're there for 2 or 3 days. Food's not so expensive. Alcohol is. It's very tightly controlled because of its Muslim country. But just be aware that Dubai may look cheap or sound cheap, and people have been caught out previously. Right. And finally, our conclusion, we're very much a fan of people not getting cash before they leave. It is expensive, and the rates just don't really work out. You're pretty much paying lots of fees to spend your money. Bank cards are fine, but you will be paying those FX fees unless you have a very low fee card. Something like a Wise debit card or a Revolut card is going to be something where you've got the flexibility, you don't have the fees and also the high fees, and you've got great exchange rates. So something to be aware of. So that's our summary of our guide to Dubai travel money. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. We're highly responsive to these. We want our resources to be as comprehensive as possible. There's no bad time to visit Dubai. It is very hot over the summer. July, August are extremely hot, but people do retreat to the malls, they retreat to the pools, they retreat to the gyms. So it is something, and also the water parks as well. But just do be aware that there's no bad seasons. It just can be very hot if you are traveling there during the European summer. So something to be aware of. Thanks very much for watching, and best of luck with your trip to Dubai.